Open Andy with Nick and Ben.
I totally dropped mine way too soon, but that's okay.
Way too soon, my brother. You gotta wait for that beat to drop, cousin. You supposed to be
Yeah.
the music guy. Ladies and gentlemen, glad to be back. Nick, it's good to see you.
You as well, sir. You as well.
It's good to be seen, my brother.
So what's been up, man? What's been popping?
On the job search still. I now have employment with the two meat farms in the state of Georgia that are USDA certified organic. But there's only two, and I work for both of them now doing sales and marketing. Proud of myself with that, and just trying to get that built up. So we got Grateful Pastures that does poultry. We got Thousand Hills Cattle Ranch that does beef. Lord have mercy.
Now I understand.
Now you understand. Yeah, there was 100,000 pounds worth of organic beef sold in middle northern Georgia last year. This farm is the first certified organic. They just got their organic certification this year, and at most they can only produce 60,000 pounds of beef in a year. So we're having to ship all this stuff in, and it's great to buy organic and it's great to buy certified naturally grown, but reducing that carbon footprint by buying local, that's where it really is, man. And that's what we're trying to get out there and trying to reach and preach and teach that. Sometimes it costs a little more. Sometimes the quality is a lot better. You know anything about the difference in caged versus free range chickens?
Yeah, price.
Price,
no, seriously.
sure.
No, seriously. No, I mean, they're not shoveled 50 chickens to 1 square foot. They actually get to live their best life.
Sure, but I guess the question is, have you ever actually had it? You know the difference in the flavor and the taste.
I have more egg than actual chicken, but yes.
Right on, and that is going to be the more affordable of the options for sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say I actually had cage-free chicken on Tuesday.
Oh, right on.
But the cook sucked. So, I mean, you can put cage-free on the fucking placard, but if you dry it out, it's still dry as chicken.
It is still dry chicken. That's what I try and tell people. Yeah, when I'm selling this organic pasture-raised chicken, like, well, what would you do? Cook it low and slow. Do not overheat it. Oh, Lord have mercy. Do not overcook that chicken. Make sure you get it to room temperature. I'm like, really? And they seem very surprised. I'm like, you know how much you're paying for this chicken. Don't risk ruining it.
You can still fuck it up.
Yeah. You could still destroy it.
I could go spend $80 on a freaking grain-fed, all natural, all organic, free roam filet. And if I cook that shit well done, still a well done steak. It is
still a well done steak, but let me tell you this: I have very, very new, fresh knowledge on this. Even a well done or even burnt organic, grass-fed, pastured piece of beef, it tastes better than a medium well cut from Outback.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
I mean, legitimately, like the texture of the grain of the meat, the flavor of the meat, the actual fat that comes, the fat drippings that come off of them. Oh, mercy. Dude, I cooked it in cast iron skillet.
I like the way you say drippings. Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely better food. It's better for you. It tastes better.
And back to the chicken, what got me the first time I oven roasted one of these organic pasture chickens, the fat that comes off of it, collected in the pan, of course, it's not clear. It doesn't look like just water. It's not clear. It has a rich amber color to it. It has dark pieces of drippings in it, just like you would from the meat. from the beef that I was talking about. It looks
Yeah.
and tastes amazing. Oh yeah, night and day
I mean,
difference.
most of the stuff that drips out of chicken from Walmart is water and salt solution. I think
Yes.
if you actually read a package, I think it says up to 30 or 35% salt solution.
Yes, no, indeed, and
It's
so
ridiculous.
you're not going to have that in your organic pasture or in your organic chickens or the organic beef. And the organic beef is dry aged a minimum of 14 to 28 days, minimum of 14 days. And so what I have to explain to people with that is you're getting water weight in your chicken, you're getting water weight or blood weight in your beef. That's why when you cook a steak that's a 16-ounce steak, it cooks down to like 12 ounces.
If that, yeah.
If that, they shrink up. I mean, I bought New York strips from your local market before organic was available to me, before I knew anything about organic. And the strip is going to have that layer of fat right on the backside. The meat cooked up so small, like the fat is like falling off of it. So the fat's all curling up like a pig stand, like the meat look gross.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Gross. I still ate it. With a smile on my face.
Yeah,
I didn't
tear
know.
it up.
I didn't know.
You still would eat it, even today.
You ain't kidding.
Yeah.
I bought a can of Vienna sausages today just because.
Because it still tastes good. It doesn't matter. It does matter. But
it does matter. It does matter. But in the grand scheme of things, what really matters is long-term use and what you're eating every day, what you're eating a lot of, and years and years and years. Like me going organic at 37 years old. Come on, man. The damage is done.
Yeah.
Just like I've already quit smoking cigarettes, I've quit all tobacco and nicotine.
You'll get rid of that damage faster than you'll get rid of the damage the food's done.
You're probably right, because everything that goes in your blood goes through your bone marrow, and how do you get that out of your bone marrow? At least the nicotine and stuff, it sweats out. You can almost smell that when it's a hot day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's man. And then I had some neck bones from Thousand Hills, neck bones and marrow bones, and I made this beef bone broth to die for. By far the best beef bone broth I've ever tasted, much less made myself. Yeah,
what are you doing?
Man, yeah, I'm watching you type stuff into your keyboard, brother. You did just like this. You did.
You can't hear it, can you?
Yes, you can hear
it. Son of a bitch.
That's the only reason I knew, because I try to keep my eyes in the camera, and I was like, I got to look and see what Nick's doing. Ladies and gentlemen, we're new to this, and we appreciate your patience. We're just trying to have a good time.
Hey, it's still fun, man. And you know what? People watching are laughing their asses off right now, so that's all good. I mean, that's the great part.
And what's really fun, we were talking about this earlier.
What is it?
What
is it?
Well, I was trying to see if I should bring it up or not because of spoilers and things, but South Park.
Yeah.
The fact that cartoons are still the most edgy and the most hilarious form of entertainment that I can find. Been watching that show forever, but yeah, no, I don't even know that we should go into any spoilers for that. If you haven't seen it, they hit on it, guys. Go check it out. But man, Halloween was recent, and
oh shit, man.
You got me laughing, man. You got me laughing.
That's what it's all about, man. Everybody should be laughing right now.
Everybody
Life is too fucking serious.
Yes. Like when you look at the news and how terrible the news is and all the craziness that's going on.
It's fucked up.
It is.
You see about all the California wildfires going on again?
I have. The wildfires are just, I mean, they're just destroying everywhere. And it's really, it's really sad that that electric company thinks that they're doing everything they can when they're not clearing the brush, they're not clearing the undergrowth, they're not replacing the bad faulty lines. They're really not doing much, and then they're cutting power to millions and millions of people trying to keep the fires from happening. And then what happens? We're still getting fires. What is going on here? Somebody needs to step in. California, they're like New York. They're supposed to be like leading the way. They're supposed to be showing the examples of how we can live. And my goodness, shouldn't they be justifying why it costs so much to live there? And what are you doing? Oh, we're going to cut the power here. We're going to cut the power there. We're going to do that all in an effort to keep wildfires from happening. But you can't just stop wildfires from happening. That's why they're called wildfires. You can help to prevent them, like Smokey the Bear used to say back in the day. Only you can prevent forest fires by trimming the brush off and putting up new lines that aren't going to spark. Did you see the videos of all those sparking wires? That is craziness. There's no reason at all that these wires are able to spark like that. They need to change these wires out. They need to trim those limbs back and clear that underbrush. They're legitimately, what do you even call it? It's I'm drawing a blank, but they're negligent. They're being very negligent.
Yeah, I agree.
And millions of people, they're like, oh, it's just 500,000 homes, just 800,000 homes, 4 or 5, 6 people in a home. Come on, all of a sudden you're talking millions of people, children, elderly, that are losing power. How do you keep your fridge and your freezer that's full of food cool if you got no power for 3 days? You got to go out and buy ice. Come on, man. Come on, these guys at PG&E, they're not thinking.
You know what they should do?
What's that?
Here's what I think. Maybe California would take a little more serious if every person whose house was affected, everybody in that household did not have to pay any state taxes, income, or sales for 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There definitely needs to be repercussions.
Threw you off.
Definitely needs to be repercussions. We can't. We got to stop having these people that are too big to fail and people that are above the law. That's completely unnecessary. It's completely unprofessional, and it's not American, man. That's some messed up stuff.
Yeah, it's fucked, man. It's totally fucked. But I mean, no. I'm just saying it's really fucking bad.
No, it is.
It's really
bad. But it's not as bad as what the Democratic Party is doing. Not even close.
Are they kind of behind it?
Well, I mean, if you want to be an ultra conspiracy theorist, California is one of the bluest states around. But no, I'm talking about the candidates and nominees for president.
Oh, that shit's horrible,
dude. I don't know if you're watching. I just keep up with it because I'm so afraid that they're going to give Donald Trump 4 more years. Now, if he earns it, that's great. I don't think he can earn it though. He's got some, he's kind of immoral and unethical. I'm not saying he's not doing great things for some people, but I don't think he's doing great things for me. I could be wrong.
You're not wrong.
But I didn't vote for him. Won't vote for him in 2020. But the Democratic Party has not put up a candidate I can see myself voting for. Elizabeth Warren, she's at the top of the list now. She's surging. Like, that's great. A strong woman.
I just had to. I'm sorry, but I don't know if you remember this, but this.
Of course, I remember it. You're gonna get us kicked off of YouTube, man. You can't show that. Like
Mr. Chef, I'm afraid you leave me
You're gonna get us canceled, bro.
No, you could do. That was only 4 seconds. We're definitely
fair enough. Yeah. Only 4 seconds. Very good. We're still trying to get the kinks worked out, ladies and gentlemen. But so Elizabeth Warren, she surges. she's at the top of the list.
Yeah.
That's great.
And we knew that was going to happen.
She comes out with her plan for Medicare for all, and it's only going to cost $20 trillion.
Yeah, just double the national deficit. I mean,
20 trillion. Now, even that may be over 10 years, spread out, whatever. That's not a viable option. You can't. That ain't gonna work. You're not gonna get those swing votes like that. Boom. Bernie Sanders. He just had a heart attack. People have a hard time voting for an ill person. That was kind of what was Hillary's problem, along with other things. But the fact that she was going through some health issues, they're not gonna, because at that point we're voting for your vice president. And there's who pays attention to the vice president? Not nobody. Not nobody.
The only illness a presidential candidate can have is mental illness.
Right, because we all have that a little bit. But yeah, no, you can't have just had a heart attack and had heart surgery and think you're going to get elected. Not at 70 plus years old. Come on, Bernie. You need to call it, and you need to give your support behind somebody else. Anyway, Biden drops down to 4th. Beto O'Rourke out of Texas jumps up in the 3rd. I read all this stuff on the same day. 8 o'clock last night, I see an update. Beto O'Rourke has dropped out of the race. He got his highest polling numbers.
And drops.
Somebody forced that man out.
Oh, they got scared. They were like, wait a second.
Got scared? Who do you think got scared, Nick? Democratic Party?
Yeah, they don't want him.
Donald Trump, maybe?
No, come on, man. The Democrats don't want to run Beto.
Why?
It's too easy. Why? It's a white man trying to act like he's Hispanic, dude. That's not cool.
Is he trying to act like he's Hispanic? I thought he was the punk rocker dude. He dropped the F-bomb.
He changed his fucking name to Beto. His name's not Beto.
Man, that's what his parents called him when he was a kid, man. He didn't change his name. Just like my old man still goes by Scooter.
Yeah, but he wouldn't. I wouldn't. But if he was running for president, it wouldn't be like, ladies and gentlemen, Scooter Singletary. It's not.
Thanks for putting my dad out there on blast, dude. We're going to have to find some way to edit out that shit. Nobody needs to know my name, bro.
My bad. I would totally go back and mute that. I mean, this shit's on private anyway, so.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll make it work.
My bad. Is that kind of?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I mean, you know Joe's last name.
Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
It's called the Joe Rogan Experience.
Right.
Yeah,
but
everybody knows
the name. Who you are.
Sure enough. They're going to figure it out eventually. Sure.
It's not like people are going to be like, I wonder who Scooter is.
Shout out to Scooter.
Scoots.
But anyway,
sorry, dude, I will correct that. I'm sorry.
It's not. I don't know that it matters. I was just trying to give you a hard time. I'm just playing for the laugh. I think it worked. Did you laugh? Put it in the comments.
Exactly.
But I mean, literally, like I can't help but think somebody did something, put some pressure on him.
Maybe. Dude, I mean, come on. You really, come on, man. Like, seriously, you think that Trump would not just rape him?
I think he would stand a better chance than Biden. I think he'd stand a better chance than Bernie, and I think he'd stand a better chance than Warren. I could be wrong. And I wouldn't have said that he had a better chance than Warren until I heard most recently about her plan for Medicare for all. Now, granted, if she can come out and she can work it out to where it makes a little more sense economically and financially, I could probably be okay with it. Kind of like how Bernie was like, yeah, we're going to tax this. We're going to tax this thing that like mostly rich people do. And if I recall correctly, Warren was saying that she wants to tax the super rich or the ultra rich, anybody 50 million plus.
Right.
Okay. What percentage of your money is coming from there? If you're going to tell me 100% of it is going to come from people whose net worth is 50 million plus, cool. I'm going to tell you that none of those people are going to vote for you.
Yeah, but I mean, if 1% don't vote for you, then
the 1% rules everything. We know this. Come on now.
I get that. It's kind of like the whole fucking experiment in California you were telling me about.
In Stockton, where they're giving the universal basic income. Mm-hmm.
You said what they have to? It's going to cost them what? How much? 20 million, but
No. What they're doing, they got a $3.5 million grant from a couple of different companies. They're giving out 1.2 million, and they're keeping 1.3 million. Those numbers might be off a little bit, but they're keeping more money than they're giving out because that's how much money it costs to give out free money to people.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so, like, that's how most charities work, right?
Oh yeah. Oh sure. I get it. But that's also why, like, I mean, most charities don't like try and tell people that like this is going to change everyone's lives. We're gonna help everybody. No, you help a small percentage of people that have a very dramatic or significant need. That's what a charity is. What they're talking about with the universal basic income is like, what, 90% of people are going to get this money? 80%? Like, that's a lot of people. We got 350 something million people in this country.
Yeah.
So you're talking, if you gave what, $1,000 to 300 million people, that's
it's bad.
What is that? $3 trillion?
What, 1,000 to every person in America?
Well, I mean, isn't it?
If you give 1,000, okay, so we have like 400. Let's just we have roughly 400 million people in the country.
Right, and I just said 300 million are getting the money.
So let's say 300 million get the money. You're going to give, if you gave $10 to each person, that would be $3 trillion. No, that'd be 3 billion.
That'd be 3 billion. So if you give 1,000, that'd be 3 trillion.
No, 300 billion.
Maybe
3 billion is 10. 30 billion is 100. 300 billion is 1,000.
Fair enough. All right.
But you can't give me. But you can't. $1,000 ain't going to move the fucking needle for anybody.
But hang on. That's $300 billion a month.
A month, right? Okay, so if you did a month. Yeah.
So let's do that by 10 now, and now that puts you at 3 trillion
3.
a year. 3.6 trillion a year giving out, and we've already discussed that it costs more to give it out than it does what you're actually giving out. So you're talking 3.7. We'll go small. 3.7. So you're talking 310 or 315 billion dollars a month.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Where's that money coming from, bro? Can't do it.
Even if the 1% were funding it, they don't have enough.
The 1% may have it, but you're talking about the 1% globally, not the 1% in America.
Yeah.
And again, we've talked about this before. If you have people who are living in low income housing and you give them an extra $1,000 a month, they're either going to have to cut back on their hours, quit a job, or get kicked out because now they make too much money for their low income housing. How does that help them? You can't throw money at the problem. The problem is housing is too damn expensive. The problem is everything is too damn expensive. You got inflation going up by 5 to 7% a year, and you got people handing out raises at 2%.
Yep. That's where the problem sits. That's why people don't stay employed at the same company anymore for very long most of the time. It's more beneficial for you to switch companies every 5 years than it is to take the yearly increase, because when you get a new job, you're gonna get paid more. I mean, if I left my job right now and went to another company, they would have to pay me more than what I'm getting paid currently, because they're starting people off based on what today's rates are average for that job.
Yep. And beyond that, even rent. In the last rental contract I had, it said that you can stay in the lease for another year, and the rent is going to go up by 5%. So I said, oh, well, I don't want to stay in another year. And then I see the same place for rent at the exact same rent, not the 5% upcharge that I was paying. So I very casually waited, tried to reapply, and he's like, oh, what? I go, well, this is a new lease now, so it's a brand new thing. I'm not releasing. He's like, oh, well, you're going to have to get all your stuff out. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'll get all my stuff out. I'll put it in a van. I'll let you check it out. I'll bring it all right back in.
He didn't like that.
He didn't like that at all. So now I'm moving somewhere else. But still, yeah, it's messed up. Like the whole system just needs to be revamped.
I muted it on purpose.
Your face. Oh, your face. Thank you for that. You just made my day, Nick. Oh,
It's so much better silent, isn't it?
so much better. Oh, that was glorious. That was glorious. Because I heard it muted. So I looked down. I was like, what's he doing? Oh, that's what he's doing. Good stuff.
Sorry, I had to bring a little comedy to the serious discussion.
Oh, good. Got to break it up, man. We were getting too deep in there, man. But yeah, like I was saying with these jobs and what I got going on, it's just it makes me know that God, the universe, positive energy, love, whatever you specifically personally want to call it, it's out there, it's real, and it works on its own timeline. And like it doesn't care that I have to pay bills on this date, but I'm getting everything I ever wanted. It just taking a little longer than I wanted to get there. And I'm meeting and networking with people that a month ago, a year ago, like these people not only would not have sat down and talked with me, I didn't know who they were. Leaders in the industry and just people who are spearheading the way for like farm to table restaurants and like sitting down and telling me, well, this is the problem, with the organic beef and the organic chicken. This is the problem with this and this. And then like, I get it. And I need to know this. And now I can take this information back and we can try and figure out how we can quell these concerns and what we can do about it as a community and what we can do about getting more people signed up so that they can do this. And getting people that have organic farms, hey, start putting some cattle on here. So get you one cow, get you a sheep, get you this, get you some goats, whatever it is. And if people can start doing it and we can teach people how easy it is. I mean, legitimately, if you're doing it organic, you're not using any fertilizer or chemicals or sprays or anything like that. And while it sounds hard, it sounds impossible. How do you do this? There's a video out there, Back to Eden. I'm gonna send you a link on it. I meant to do it before we recorded this, and I apologize, but we can talk about that next week. And it legitimately, guys, like, man, I threw away all my big tools, and now the only tool I have is a rake. And now, granted, he's stretching a little bit. He still has to use wheelbarrows. He still has to use his trucks, shovels, and pitchforks and things to move compost and mulch and stuff. But even he goes into to explain that, when you can make connections with people in different industries, you can pick up their trash for free. And you can convert that trash that just happens to be, chipped up limbs and trees or horse manure and cow manure or newspaper and cardboard, and use that organic material to make a lush soil out of clay and dirt that is just has zero water infiltration. I mean, it is amazing what you can do if you just stop trying to force it and just let nature be nature. It's amazing, man. Amazing.
Very nice. I will definitely check that video out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them in there. I'll have to. I saw you trying to look for it. I'm gonna have to make sure that I send you the right link for it.
Yeah, it looks. Is it 8 years old?
No.
Is it Paul Gotschty?
That sounds right.
Back to Eden Garden Tour?
Yeah. Paul yep, Gautschi.
Gotchi.
Yeah.
I do have a question.
Okay.
You may know the answer, you may not. So to be considered like non-GMO and organic and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like no, you can't fuck with the genetics of the cells. You can't use like synthetic shit. You can't use pesticides or anything like that, right?
That's correct. Non-GMO
Right.
and organic are not the same thing, though. But what
Oh
you
yeah,
just
yeah,
said about
yeah,
the
no, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
go
You
ahead.
you could do non-GMO and not be organic. I get that. The non-GMO is whether or not it's been genetically modified to grow bigger or grow taller or.
Ooh, there you go. All right, so if you want to, we can get on that. But finish your question. We'll get back to this. I'll make a little note for myself about GMOs.
Yeah, so for get to be organic, like when you talk about certified organic beef, like what they eat has to be
yes.
organic.
What they eat has to be non-GMO specific.
Right, right, and organic. Everything's got to be organic
and organic. Yes,
and so like they can't be fucked with. Basically, they've got to live their best life.
Yes.
So my question is this: if the farmer's fucking the goat, is it still organic? I just want to know, where does it fall? Like where? Because some could consider that living its best life.
No one would consider that living its best life. That would definitely not be a humane practice. Lord have mercy, Nick. I thought you being serious. I'm getting all excited.
No, I am serious. That was the icebreaker. So,
I mean, technically, if you could prove that it was not an inhumane treatment of the animal, it could.
So you have to prove the goat's pleasure.
Yes, indeed. You would have to be able to prove that to a USDA auditor that walked in on you taking this goat to town. You would have to be able to prove it wholeheartedly. And I don't know how you would do that, and I don't even want to think about it because that's kind of gross, man. But
what was the guy's name? Patrick Ramsey or some Ramsey? He used to do Paul Ramsey. He used to do like the little cartoons in the Clarion Ledger.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes,
John Ramsey, Paul Ramsey.
I think it's Paul Ramsey.
I could totally see Paul Ramsey putting a little sketch of a USDA auditor with his checklist watching a farmer ream a
goat. Marshall Ramsey. Yeah, I had to look it up. I normally know these things. I knew John wasn't right.
But back to the question at hand. Yeah, I know a little bit, but you are definitely the subject matter expert in this area. So break down GMOs versus organic real quick.
Man, all right. So legitimately, the USDA definition of GMOs, so I've been told, is when they genetically modify the plant so that it can withstand pesticides and herbicides like Roundup. So a GMO crop has been altered such that you can spray it with Roundup and Roundup doesn't kill it. Roundup just kills everything around it. So a GMO corn, you can just pour Roundup all over it throughout its whole life. And it kills all the weeds around it. It keeps everything else from growing and it grows up just fine. So you're getting these trace amounts of pesticides and herbicides constantly in the plant, and then these trace amounts end up in your food. And then after they harvest it, the drying process, they have to use daylight and something else. I hate that I can't remember the name of it right now, but a chemical that helps to dry out the crops for shipping across the country. Non-GMOs that are not organic don't have that capability, so they're not able to spray them with Roundup while they're being grown, but they still use a type of Roundup or pesticide to dry out the excess water from the crops after they're harvested before they're shipped. So you have GMOs, and then we're talking about strictly non-organic vegetables here. You would have GMOs that have been treated with Roundup their whole life, or non-GMOs that have only been treated with Roundup at the very end and are on the outside. So you have a better chance of being able to wash the chemicals off, if you will.
Right.
But I don't know the penetration value. I don't know that any tests have been done. Kind of like the Mythbusters years ago did the 5-second rule test to figure out how long something can be on the floor before it actually gets contaminated.
And it's like instantaneous.
It's instantaneous. It's now granted past so many seconds, like the amount of microbes increase, and I think
Right.
it was 7 or 10 seconds or something like that years ago, and I don't recall. I apologize. Great show. I used to enjoy it.
Right. I love the shit out of it.
And but so yeah, the only way to ensure that you're not ever getting any kind of pesticides on your fruits and vegetables is to get organic. And then there's they've come up with a list that is the Dirty Dozen, which is the 12 most used, most pesticide or herbicide used planting fruits and vegetables. And
Right.
12 items. Go look it up. It's mostly fruits, and then like tomatoes and potatoes, celery, spinach and kale, and then the rest are fruits like strawberries, apples, grapes. Anyway, go look it up. The Dirty Dozen of organic vegetables. Those you want to get organic every time. The others, it's you want to get organic where you can, when you can afford it. But I won't buy regular wine anymore. I will only get organic wine, grapes, apples, organic apple juice, because of the amount of pesticides that goes into growing them.
Right.
And this stuff again, like, am I reversing any damage? I don't know. That stuff is just in you. That stuff is just in my DNA at this point. It's in my bone marrow. But I figure if I can start, I can help, and if I can help teach other people about it and make it cheaper and more available for everybody else. Oh, Lord have mercy. What is that?
That is GMOs at work. That's like, I guess it's the rat's testicles with feet growing out of them. Just throwing that up there as part of the conversation.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, but I used to think that GMOs, anything that was genetically modified. So when you had these hybrid apples where somebody had to go in and make these hybrid apples, that was the genetically modified organism. And I think technically it is, but by the USDA standards, that's not what they're talking about.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, it's some of the, let me pull it up. I'm going to see if I can find something for you real quick, but I don't know if you've ever actually seen like the difference between genetically modified veggie versus what it used to look like.
Oh, the heirloom. Yeah, I see them at the farmers markets that I work at regularly. It's a night and day difference.
So here is a picture for you that kind of shows how things used to look versus how they look now. Hold on, I'm gonna find it. But it's crazy because you can't even barely recognize the shit.
No, indeed, yeah, especially tomatoes.
Yeah, and carrots.
Sure.
Yeah,
carrots are at least still kind of the same shape, I think, unless I'm way wrong.
Right.
But the tomatoes that you have in the store right now, look like, come on. But again, just because they've been hybrided and grown to be a certain type, that's not necessarily. You can still get non-GMO that don't look like the heirloom varieties.
All right, here you go. You're about to see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you keep saying that, bro. We'll believe it when we see it. I hope we don't lose any viewers. There we go.
Hold on. We're gonna switch this.
Still holding on.
Oh, ooh.
Hey, look,
so
man,
horrible.
I'm still here, but how many people are we losing while we're doing this?
None. They're all still hanging out because they want to see. But after the rat with the testicles, come on, man.
All right, they're sticking around.
There you go. Watermelon versus watermelon, banana versus banana, eggplant versus eggplant, and carrots.
You got to scroll a little bit to see them carrots, so they can't see it.
There's the carrots and the corn.
Yeah. Yeah, the carrots look a little bit, you know, they're at least still long and stringy.
Corn
But
too.
yeah, the corn
It's
looks
fucking
way
crazy.
different. Yeah.
Yeah. So
But yeah, no, I see that. I see that regularly at the farmers market, um, and it's just, man, it's crazy. We sell these Suyo Long Heritage heirloom. That's hilarious. Is that the remix? I don't got no sound. I'm not hearing any sound with it, my brother.
oh, you didn't hear any sound with it.
Mm-mm.
Is your speaker working? I think your speaker's broken. We'll try one more time because I know you love this song. This is like your anthem, right? I would be if I and I'm not even tossing shade, man, but if I had tasty chicken and beef, this would be in my head constantly.
Yeah, I know the song. Love the song. It's even better when it's got that woman's face in it. She's
dancing around.
your name. And what's great is she's at church. She's talking about this at church. Oh, I love it.
They're probably getting ready for a potluck, man.
I think it was talking about the bounty that the Lord has given us. It was right before Thanksgiving, I believe, if I recall correctly, it's several years ago. But yeah, that's the way it is, man. They got so much stuff out there that's just.
I could bet you that they did not have collard greens at Plymouth Rock, man, for the first Thanksgiving.
Not like we have. No. Mm-mm.
They don't eat that shit up there.
I mean, I just don't think that it was native to this area.
Well, no, absolutely not.
And that's another thing, man. Like being able to get in the markets that we have now, where you have year round, you can get any fruit or any vegetable.
That's about to be fucked.
Good. It shouldn't be. Why you got the screen small, man? Fix the screens. Why is it? There you go. Why is it about to be fucked? Explain that.
It's about to be fucked, man. So we've been able to basically have year-round fucking shit because of all the agricultural shit coming in from Mexico and South America, and it's because their shit's like a third of the price of ours, and so they can afford to bring it in. They have better weather. They grow all this shit all the time, especially in South America. It's opposite side of the equator, so different season. Like when we're in winter, they're in summer, and vice versa. So they grow all this shit, but they're getting ready to fucking add like tariffs and taxes to this shit to be able to increase the use of American-grown produce.
And who is they that are about to add these tariffs and taxes?
The man, dude, the man.
Oh, the current president of the United States.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's like a guy at the border saying, "Okay, I'm operating."
I just wanted to know who you thought was doing it. I mean, like, we're not shy about calling people out, and you didn't call them out. Like it sounded like you being you pussyfooting around the subject.
Sorry. Yeah, fucking Donald Trump's throwing his cock into somebody else's mouth now.
There you go.
Yeah, Americans will be paying an extra $3 billion for avocados, tomatoes, mangoes, and other fruits and vegetables when 25% tariffs on Mexican imports in the U.S. take effect in October.
And that was this past October?
Yeah, just happened. Yep.
It's wild world. But where I was going with that is you're not supposed to.
Marco Rubio has led. He was the bill leader, so I guess it's not Trump directly.
Oh wow! Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that Marco would have done that, but okay.
Yeah,
and that's why we do research, ladies and gentlemen. We don't just throw shade at people on purpose.
And this is on top
story, and you go look it up.
Right. Earlier this year, they added a 17.5% duty tax
about that
on Mexican tomatoes, and this is on top of that. So tomatoes, especially, will be getting good old U.S. of A. tomatoes, and not the most likely GMO'd tomatoes from Mexico.
Definitely GMO, definitely not organic. And look, we've been on it for we've been on this stuff for so long, man. Like people were doing non-organic just because that was like what factory farming was all about, and using the GMOs because it was easier and you didn't have to worry about your crop spoiling. It's one thing I love explaining to people at the farm, like, oh well, these vegetables you have here, they have holes in them where bugs have been eating them. It's like,
Yes, they do.
yeah, because we don't use pesticide. Like that's what you're paying for, lady.
Right. Which is fucked. I get it. I get the duality of it, but like I hear people, and this is such a surface fucking conversation from people, but they're like, well, I just don't understand. If you're not having to spend money on pesticides and shit, why does it cost more?
Because you lose 20% of your crop daily, my man. You know what's real funny? You get into that argument with vegans and you go like, oh, you're a vegan, but you don't eat organic? Like, do you know how much, like, how many animals and insects and actual, like, rodents and livestock, well, not livestock, but, like, wild game gets killed regularly to produce non-organic?
It's a pretty shiny, whole-free tomato with the wax on the outside because it's the only way to make sure you don't die from eating it.
Yes. Yes. Oh, it's a crazy world, man. Kids out there, man, do your research. Adults too. No joke. Don't just hear Fox News or CNN say something and just run with it. Like look it up. Like go listen to NPR and then listen to your AM radio stations for the left or the right or whatever. And like listen to it all, man. Take it all in and then make your own informed opinions.
Exactly.
Don't be just a complete follower. Like, dude, feel comfortable about what you're telling us, how you're raising your kids and raising your life, man.
There's no book that can tell you how to do it.
I don't know. There's
one book. There's one book that can help guide you. Yeah, there's one book that can help guide you.
There's several books that help guide you. The one that works for me is the Christian Bible. But even at that, man, like when you start to think about how many people have been killed in the name of Christian God, I mean, it's kind of, man, it's there's, like you said, it's that duality. It's like you got to take the good with the bad. And is it all right? Is it all wrong? Who am I to judge? I don't know. I just know I have to know what I believe in, and I have to know where I have my faith, and I have to know where my faith lies. And I have to know that at the end of the day, this is what I believe, and this is what gets me through the day. And that's, it's got to be okay with me. You don't have to agree with it. I'm not going to tell you down your throat. You hear me tiptoe around it. That's fine, man. You can call it whatever you want. And I'm not saying that you're wrong and you're going to hell, but don't tell me that I'm wrong and I'm going to hell. Let's just be peaceful.
When I get told I'm going to hell, my response is see you there, because I think it's pretty clear in most religious scriptures that judgment being cast on your fellow man is just not a good thing.
Right. So on that note, man, I want everybody to have a good week. Judge as little as you can, but do your research, man, and figure out what you put in your body, man. Garbage in, garbage out. We'll talk about Back to Eden hopefully next week, maybe even tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Maybe we can squeeze in a little 30-minute session tomorrow.
Just on that video.
Yeah, just on that. And we'll be doing some talks just on some music that we found. Nick's real good about finding music. I'm real good about finding stuff about farming and stuff.
I've got one to end the night on for you. Man,
we're right at 50 minutes. Make it happen. We'll be out.
I mean, we don't have to play the whole thing, but you tell me what you think. It's just, you got to shine love where love is due. And this guy is very confident. So I think it's time to let his confidence shine. It's shared.
Oh, wow. Big boy. I love it.
once in a
Love it.
oh, somewhere over
Agreed.
the rainbow,
Great song, great version.
birds fly, and the dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true.
Ladies and gentlemen, peace, love, and happiness. Be good out there. We'll see you next time.
Be where trouble melts like lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, and the dream that you did to, oh why can't I?